In Imperial College, Qin Mu received 3 Imperial decrees and his official position was raised to upper 5th ranking Palace Grandee. Palace Grandee was a welfare position and held no real power. People in it were civil officials of the empire in a way, but they were still wanderers. It was obvious that the emperor still had some doubts since Qin Mu was the master of heavenly devil cult. The emperor wouldn't give him real power so that all levels of society wouldn't be filled with villains from the devil cult. Qin Mu threw the 3 imperial decrees into the west room, greatly startled. He was still cultivating the other 4 transformations in 5 elements realm. When heading to the south to quell the rebellion, Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor had given them many pointers, so when Chen Wanyan, xianxia, and the rest returned from the southern border, they immediately headed to Floor of Heavenly Records to look for 5 element realms techniques. Xianxia even borrowed the Imperial Academician's book tablet from Qin Mu to enter the 3rd floor of Heavenly Records to browse through the techniques. Qin Mu took in and sent out the star force of Saturn, and his body gradually transformed. His legs fused into one and turned into the tail of a snake. With a human head and snake body, he was almost 10 yards tall. At the same time, 2 tightly shut gates appeared behind him. During the journey to the south, he had already managed to cultivate the god transformation of Mercury Sovereign, Mars Sovereign, Jupiter Sovereign, and Venus Sovereign. It was only the form of Saturn Sovereign that he found hard to cultivate. No matter how dense his vital chi was, he couldn't form the most perfect form of Saturn Sovereign. When he executed Overlord Body 3 Elixir technique this time, the tightly shut gate behind him gradually became clearer. Yet the words on it were still blurry, and he was unable to make them out. Saturn Sovereign was extremely special among the 5 elements star sovereigns. Saturn Earth Marquee technique was the head of the 5 elements, and was unexpectedly hard to cultivate, especially the gate behind Saturn Sovereign. Qin Mu was able to transform into the form of Saturn Sovereign, but the gate behind him never fully materialized. The words on it were always blurry. From the sky, an earth-yellow light poured down continuously into his body. The star force of the earth element surged forth and stabilized the body of his god transformation. Gradually, Qin Mu discovered that the form of Saturn Sovereign still had more to its transformation. An apparition of a scroll appeared in his hands. When he looked at the apparition of the scroll, the writing on it was still blurry. However, from the peculiar lines there, the writing on the scroll should be tadpole script. It looked like sun, moon, insect, and fish, which was different from the writing of the modern day. Qin Mu had learned from Def, this great scholar, for close to 10 years. Def had extremely deep knowledge regarding ancient texts, but he had never taught Qin Mu about this kind of tadpole script. Qin Mu turned his head and looked at the writings on the apparition of the gate. Even though they were still blurry, he could see the similarity between the writing on the scroll and the gate. What kind of text is this? Qin Mu could faintly feel that something was weird. If every martial arts practitioner of 5 elements realm had such a gate behind their back and a scroll in the hands of their Saturn Sovereign form, there would have definitely been someone who had studied the writings on the gate and scroll thoroughly and analyzed their profound meaning. So why hadn't Imperial Preceptor mentioned anything about it? Could it be that other people's Saturn Sovereign form had no gate nor scroll? While Qin Mu was thinking, a deep devilish voice rang out in his mind. Stop letting your imagination run wild, these are Yuda's writings. How would a weakling like you recognize the writings of Yudu? Qin Mu's hair stood up on end, and he said in a panic, Who is talking in my body? Acting? The voice laughed. How long are you still going to act in front of me? When I borrowed your eyes to look at Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor's battle, didn't you recognize me then, summoner of the ruler of Dutian? Now Qin Mu really felt a bone-chilling cold. When Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor had a huge battle at Dutian City, he stood at the mountain peak to observe the battle, but he was unable to see the moves of the strong practitioners. Dutian Devil King then borrowed his eyes to observe the battle, which allowed him to see the moves of Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor, Teacher Puer, and the rest clearly. He could even comprehend the marvel of their terrifying moves. However, Qin Mu had thought he had concealed it pretty well and didn't alert this Devil King. Yet now it showed up that his little thoughts had been completely useless. Dutian Devil King had long detected the turbulence in his heart and guessed what he was thinking. Foolish Devil Summoner, it's completely useless to play those tricks that you think are clever in front of the great ruler of Dutian. Dutian Devil King's voice rang in his mind, leaving his ears buzzing from the vibration. It's best for a weakling like you to not play tricks in front of me. You can't imagine how strong I am. Serve me, worship me, that's your only way to survive. Qin Mu composed himself and suddenly smiled. Great leader of Dutian, I'm the only person left in this world that still understands ghost transferring God dispatching runes command. I'm also the only one who can still execute this spell. Dutian Devil King fell silent. After a moment, his voice rang out again. Interesting brat, you actually dared to haggle with me. Very well, very well. Qin Mu felt uneasy, uncertain if he would succeed in this haggle. If he didn't succeed and this devil fell out with him, he was most likely going to be in trouble. If he succeeded and kept himself alive, he could ask village chief and the rest to slowly kill Dutian Devil King when he returned to the village. From Dutian Devil King's actions, it was clearly still possible to kill him. After all, when Qin Mu and Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor had gone on a journey together, Dutian Devil King hadn't made a move and hid quietly in Qin Mu's body. Only when Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor was fighting with the cult master level existences like Teacher Pur did Dutian Devil King dare to borrow Qin Mu's eyes to observe the situation of the battle. He did that to find out Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor's true power and also to look for his weakness. However, Qin Mu was surrounded with experts of Heavenly Devil Cult back then, so he didn't make a sound. After that, when Qin Mu was treating Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor, Dutian Devil King had also been silent. Once Qin Mu parted ways with Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor, he had met Cripple and Old Ma in Imperial College, so Dutian Devil King also didn't come out. Now that Old Ma and Cripple were no longer around and Qin Mu was alone, he had finally appeared. If Imperial Preceptor, Old Ma, and Cripple couldn't threaten him, there would have been no need for him to be so careful. In other words, he made a blunder. This meant that he could be vanquished, unlikely Tianxing and Granny C's Dao Heart which couldn't be killed at all. As long as one was strong enough, the devil could still be eliminated. Dutian is already finished, with only endless darkness left. That's why I need to find a new world for the people of my Dutian, a place where they can live and flourish. Dutian Devil King's voice traveled over. I took great pains to pass ghost transferring God dispatching runes command to this world and now, you are the only one left who knows this spell. You should know I won't let you go so easily. Qin Mu was now completely at ease and let out a sigh of relief. So you want me to summon the devil again, to summon you over? Dutian Devil King explained patiently. I had this idea in the past, but I see that there are powerful beings in this world as well, so I would only like to borrow your hand to send some people here. I don't want to raise a war between the strong practitioners of both worlds. It isn't good for you nor is it good for us. My Dutian is already finished, and I just don't want my race to be exterminated. I have no notion to take over this world. Believe? Ghost, Qin Mu thought to himself. However, he couldn't say it out loud. If he said it, it would be easy for Dutian Devil King to kill him. With his consciousness leeching off Qin Mu's body, he has some magic power. This power of the devil was far superior to Qin Mu's own. If Dutian Devil King was to fall out with him, this consciousness and magic power would probably not find it a chore to get rid of him. The Devil King had a use for him, so he wouldn't lay his hands on him, but if he discovered that Qin Mu had no intention of summoning him, he would probably fall out with him. You don't need to summon me, just summon my subjects, Dutian Devil King said. After that, I will leave you and you can live your life carefreely. You just need to help me with this little thing and I'll explain to you the words on the gate. Qin Mu smiled. My elder will most likely recognize the words on the gate, so there's no need to trouble the Devil King. Kiki, recognize? Those are the words of Yudu. Even if he recognizes them, will you be able to read them? Dutian Devil King then added unhurriedly. There's no use if you can't read the words of Yudu. The scroll also records the spells of Yudu. Don't you want to know them? Qin Mu's gaze wavered. What use is there to learn the words of Yudu when I can't even read the words on the scroll or the gate? Furthermore, it doesn't affect me much even if I don't learn them. Devil King, I have no need to make a deal with you. Ha! Dutian Devil King laughed. It seems like you still haven't comprehended the true marvel of the realm you're in. As long as you learn the words of Yudu, you will be stronger than Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor. Didn't Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor say that others were a triangle while he's a straight line? As long as you learn the words on the gate, your straight line will be even longer than his. His voice reverberated all around Qin Mu's mind, without any fixed position. It sometimes came from the left and sometimes from the right, while at other times it rang out from the front and sometimes from the back of the head, making Qin Mu unable to discern where it was coming from. A weakling like you probably doesn't know what Yudu is. Let me tell you, Yudu is the final destination after you mortals die. All souls will enter there, the land where the great Earth Count resides, ruling over the world where all the living things go after they die. He's an incomparably ancient god, the primitive god who controls death. Even gods and Buddhas become enslaved by him once they die. Yudu is not the hell the gods and Buddhas had mentioned. Hell is used to scare you mortals, while Yudu is 100 times crueler than hell. By mastering Yudu's words and Yudu's spells, you would strengthen your soul, and this is the stairs to becoming a god. Qin Mu was greatly moved and smiled. There's no proof with just words, and what you said is too good to be true. Tell me a spell from Yudu and I'll believe you. Dutian Devil King chuckled. You should know. Qin Mu was stunned for a moment and cried out. Soul Guide? Soul Guide is a spell from Yudu? Soul Guide isn't a complete spell from Yudu. Instead, it was a Yudu spell that was reconstructed by the mortals of your world using the language of mortals. It's far from the true power of a Yudu spell, Dutian Devil King said. The true Yudu spell uses the words of Yudu, and those words are much more complicated than the runes of your world. Your runes are merely simplified words of Yudu. Qin Mu's heart trembled as he looked at the apparition of the scroll. The words on this scroll were written using Yudu's language? Soul Guide could allow the souls of the dead to return. But if one was proficient in Yudu's language and used it to execute the spell, how powerful would the spell become? There was still one more point. Dutian Devil King said that the words of Yudu must be read to be able to master and execute them. This sentence was not a lie. Back then on the surface of Surging River, the Taoists from Nine Spectres sect had used Soul Guide and sung a cryptic folk song. This made the black fog pour forward, and a terrifying gate of darkness had appeared in the heart of the river. Most of Dutian Devil King's words were lies, but there were still some truths in them. Devil King, I had once seen an elder beside the river at night guiding the dead. Someone told me that elder was a messenger of death. How is this messenger of death related to Yudu? Qin Mu asked after recalling the incident. Dutian Devil King answered. Just a messenger god under Earth Count to maintain the order. Do you want to learn the language of Yudu or not? Learn! Qin Mu blinked his eyes innocently and said. Teach me quickly. Dutian Devil King chuckled. After you summon the devils and bring forth my subjects, I'll teach you. Qin Mu hesitated for a moment. If you don't keep your promise after I summon them, won't I be at a disadvantage? How about this? I shall create a wooden mechanism which you can enter. You can then summon your own devil and the others. You will be able to teach me Yudu's language and summon the subjects yourself. Wouldn't that be to everyone's delight and satisfaction? Dutian Devil King sneered. It's a great suggestion. But after I leave your body, you will be able to call people to come and kill me the next moment. Do you think I'm that stupid? I'll remain in your body, and you shall hold the great sacrifice to summon the devils. After you summon them, I'll teach you the language of Yudu. Qin Mu sneered. What happens if you don't teach me after I summon your subjects? If your subjects kill me in a flash, you'll be free. On the other hand, I'll drop dead and my soul will belong to Yudu. Don't forget, when I summoned you last time, you didn't even care if I died or not. Both of them became silent. After a moment, Dutian Devil King smiled. Little brat, clever like the devil, not that easy to fool, eh? How about this? I shall sign an oath of alliance with you. You will summon my subjects, and I'll teach you the language of Yudu. Those who will go against the oath will have their souls taken away by the Earth Count. What do you think? Qin Mu thought for a moment and said, All right. But don't try to fool me. I understand some devil language, so don't try to play any tricks on the oath. Dutian Devil King smiled. Filthy brat, clever as the devil. All right, I'll be generous for once and not play any tricks. Cryptic devil language rang out in Qin Mu's mind. The words he heard were hard to pronounce and difficult to understand. Qin Mu was only able to understand half of it, and his heart thumped wildly. Steady, steady, I can't let this Devil King know that I'm half-baked. Not much later, Dutian Devil King read out the Oath of Alliance, and the shape of half a gate gradually appeared in Qin Mu's mind. It seemed to be half of the gate of Yudu. It's your turn, Dutian Devil King said. Qin Mu composed himself and slowly worked on the meaning of the other half of the devil language that he hadn't understood at first. Yet Dutian Devil King grew impatient and urged him. Quickly, or else the gate of Yudu is going to vanish. Qin Mu sneered. You are trying to trick me. I'm not agreeing to this oath. Dutian Devil King smiled. Little brat, you really understand some of the devil language. Half of the gate of Yudu dispersed, and the devil language sounded out again. This time Qin Mu managed to understand most of it, but there were still some terms he was not sure of and had to work to figure out. Dutian Devil King smiled. All right, I see you have the ability. After this, the gate dispersed again, and he read the oath using the devil language. Qin Mu suddenly smiled. Devil King, you're always trying to trick me. Why don't we use the language of the humans to conclude the oath? What do you think? Dutian Devil King kept quiet for a moment, then scolded him for being as clever as the devil. Stinky brat, you only have a smattering of devil language and took this chance to learn something, didn't you? If one could understand 40 to 50% of a language, the rest which they didn't understand would become like a ciphertext. According to the words said in front and behind, one could be able to guess the meaning of those coded words. This was what Qin Mu had done. He originally knew nothing about the devil language, but because of fate, he had heard the devil language at Goddess Pass and Great Ruins and memorized it. After that, he had met a devil god who was sealed in the wall in Doom Suppression Palace who taught him great freedom Madra, so he learned a bit more of the devil language. With this knowledge, he could deduce what was being said. It was like deciphering a ciphertext. In the oath Dutian Devil King had made 3 times, there were numerous devil language words, and they were extremely pure. Qin Mu knew since a long time ago that the language of gods and devils contained a terrifying might. While listening to the 3 times Dutian Devil King made his oath, Qin Mu mastered the devil language to an astonishing degree. If Dutian Devil King now made an oath with him in human language, he could use it to compare to what was said before and learn the words of the devil language he hadn't understood before. It wasn't wrong of Dutian Devil King to say that he had taken the chance to learn. Now it wasn't too hard for Qin Mu to converse with Dutian Devil King in devil language, but to be on the safe side, he felt that it was still better to use the human language. He could then completely understand the meaning of the sentences so that he wouldn't get tricked by Dutian Devil King. Qin Mu's gaze flickered. In that case, does Devil King still want to make an oath? Dutian Devil King sneered. Yes, naturally yes. He knew Qin Mu planned to take this chance to master the devil language completely, but he could do nothing about it. The only other option was to kill Qin Mu, but if he did that, he would disappear as well. He was just a consciousness and magic power. Spirits of the deceased come back. Earth counts 9 pacts. We submit ourselves to you. Dutian Devil King's voice sounded out and called Earth Count's taboo name to rouse the attention of this ruler of Yudu. This time he used the human language, so he had no way to play any tricks. Qin Mu carefully noted the meaning of each and every word. He was very careful and studied them over and over again. In time, he felt an indescribable energy surging forth from a deep space. This energy became stronger and stronger, forming half a gate in his mind. Dutian Devil King completed the oath and looked at Qin Mu. Qin Mu became even more confident in his devil language after comparing the oath's words in both languages. Only then did he speak the oath as well, and when he reached the part where it said we submit ourselves to you, he could feel a pair of eyes landing on his body. To be exact, they landed on his soul. His soul shuddered as he felt the limitless power and the immensity of the one who controls the souls. This was an existence who controlled all the souls and held boundless power. He had no interest in the corporeal body, just the soul. If one violated the oath, he would descend and take away the soul of the violator. Qin Mu continued to speak out the oath of alliance, and half a gate gradually appeared in front of his eyes. This gate matched the half of Dutian Devil King's, forming a complete gate. Beyond it, there was endless darkness. However, below the gate, Qin Mu saw a yellow spring, although it probably shouldn't be called that. It was a bright and dazzling stream that had 9 bends and 18 curves which grew thicker and thicker towards the bottom, looking like the river of heaven. At the bottom of the endless yellow spring, he saw an emotionless gaze. This bright golden stream wasn't the yellow springs but horns. These were the 2 horns on the head of Earth Count, the controller of souls. Earth Count's 9 packs held of the meaning of the 9 bends. 9 packs were 9 bends. His horns were the 9 bends, the yellow spring. Qin Mu and Dutian Devil King had made an oath, and it was formed on the 9 bends of the horns of this majestic primitive god. Why was violating the oath called breaking a pact? It should be related to Earth Count's 9 packs. The oath of alliance was formed on the 9 bends of the yellow spring, so if one violated the oath, Earth Count would take away their soul. When the oath of alliance was finished, the gate closed and the vision in front of Qin Mu's eyes vanished. Hee 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 hee. Dutian Devil King's laugh rang out, and Qin Mu was bewildered. What's Devil King laughing about? Nothing much. Dutian Devil King laughed non-stop, but he still couldn't resist saying it out loud while chuckling. Brat, even though you're as clever as a devil, you still fell into my trap. You made an oath with me and not my true body. I'm only a consciousness, and you made an oath with it. Now you better work for me sincerely. As for the words of Yudu, don't think that I'll tell you anything about them. This consciousness of mine can just be eliminated. I don't care. Qin Mu stared with his eyes wide open, unable to return to his senses for quite a while. Dutian Devil laughed long and loud and was very pleased with himself as he admired Qin Mu's helpless figure. After a moment, Qin Mu let out a breath and muttered, No wonder Grandpa Cripple always told me to treat others with a smile and stab them in the back at the same time. Devil King, you're really a professional. Luckily, I'm not bad as well. Dutian Devil King's heart tightened. Qin Mu muttered to himself, I've also a trick up my sleeve. I decided to kill your subjects wave after summoning them. This won't be seen as breaking the pact. Dutian Devil King was startled. Both of them fell silent. After a moment, Dutian Devil King said, We're only harmful to each other like this. Since you don't believe me, there's no need to continue living in your body. I'll choose the second option. You will create a mechanism and I'll leave your body to leech onto the god statue. Don't worry, I'll teach you the language of Yudu after you finish building the god statue mechanism. Deal! Qin Mu was exhilarated. Old Ma frequently forged all kinds of furniture, and he had learned quite some handicraft from him. Including the path of painting and calligraphy he learned from deaf, and smelting he had learned from mute. It wasn't that troublesome for him to create a god statue mechanism. Qin Mu was about to start working on it when he felt a chill down his spine and cold sweat rolled down his forehead. I almost got tricked by him. Before making the god statue mechanism for him, I have to summon the devils to complete the oath. Otherwise, if I only concentrate on creating the god statue mechanism and he teaches the language of Yudu to me without me summoning the devils, I'll be violating the oath and my soul will be taken away by Earth Count. Dutian Devil King exclaimed in admiration. You're pretty good. If you came to my Dutian, you could survive there with your wits. Qin Mu let out a breath. If he wasn't careful when dealing with an existence like Dutian Devil King, even his bone marrows might be devoured by him. He went to the west room to get some money, preparing to buy some winter crystal iron and wood to sculpt the god statue. However, he saw Hu Linga standing at the door, looking around. Qin Mu smiled. Linga, why aren't you cultivating but standing around here? Hu Linga said with worry. Imperial Preceptor still owes us 1,000 great abundance coins. It's time for him to repay. Qin Mu shook his head and went to the warehouse to get some materials, moving them to the courtyard. Sculpting a god statue wasn't hard for him. In just half a day, he had sculpted 5 different kinds of wooden statue under the guidance of Dutian Devil King. They were all sculptures of devil gods. These 5 fellows are those that don't accept my rule. It's a treat to me if you summon them over to kill them. Dutian Devil King smiled. When Qin Mu finished sculpting the wooden statues, he cooked dishes and called Hu Linga, who was still at the door, to eat. She came over with a blank expression, and when she ate halfway, she suddenly muttered in a daze. Young master, Imperial Preceptor still owes us 1,000 coins. Qin Mu took out a smelting furnace which he had stolen from Roland's Golden Palace to smelt winter crystal irons to forge the parts which were needed in making the god statue mechanism. While he worked busily until midnight, the scholars living around him couldn't sleep from the ruckus he was creating and complained to the directorates. A few directorates came forth personally and asked him politely to stop. Qin Mu could only do as they told him and went to sleep. On the second day, he opened the room's door and washed up, yet he kept feeling that something was missing. After thinking for a while, he finally remembered that there was something missing under the blanket when he was sleeping yesterday. It seems like Linger didn't tunnel under my blanket to sleep last night. Qin Mu pushed open the gate to the courtyard and saw Hu Linger standing at the head of the dragon Qilin, who was outside. She was looking at the entrance to Scholar's residence and her eyes were red, which showed that she hadn't slept the whole night. Young master, Imperial Preceptor still owes us 1,000 great abundance coins, she said with disappointment. Qin Mu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He carried her up and tucked her away under the blanket before continuing to forge the god statue mechanism. When it came to the third day, Hu Linga was still standing guard at the gate. The little fox only weekly came back at night for dinner, sitting there in a daze for a long while. Imperial Preceptor still owes us 1,000 great abundance coins. When the fourth day came, Hu Linga didn't say anything and didn't go to the door to wait. She had an unhappy expression on her face. Qin Mu asked with concern what was wrong, and she said, I guess Imperial Preceptor really won't return the money. Qin Mu finally finished creating the god statue mechanism. It had 4 heads and 8 arms, and every joint in the body could move freely. All kinds of totem markings were imprinted on the body, yet Qin Mu didn't let Dutian Devil King enter it immediately. At this moment, knocking sounds came from outside, and Qin Mu took a glance at Hu Linger. He saw that the little fox was still in a daze and didn't go to open the door. He couldn't help shaking his head and went to open the door himself. An elder stood in front of the door. His clothes were old, but they were very clean. He smiled. Is this young Master Qin Mu? I'm the butler of Imperial Preceptor's manor, and my surname is Fu. I have come under the orders of Imperial Preceptor to return the money. Qin Mu was astonished. Elder Fu, the rewards from the Emperor have come? Elder Fu said. That's right, they arrived. The Emperor rewarded Imperial Preceptor with 100 palace maids and 1,000,000 gold. Imperial Preceptor accepted these gifts, but the 100 palace maids are giving him a headache. He can't support all of them, but luckily there's some money now. However, after returning all the debts, I reckon only half of it will be left. Young Master Qin, here's the 1,000 coins. Qin Mu wanted to call Hu Linger over when he saw a flash of white light streak across his eyes. Hu Linger rushed over as if she was flying and snatched the coin pouch from Elder Fu's hands with a sweet smile. Seems like Imperial Preceptor is a person of credibility. Thanks for the trouble, Elder Fu. Elder Fu was astonished and didn't say anything. He then warned Qin Mu. Young Master Qin is wealthy, so you must be careful. Recently there's been a thief running amok in the capital city. Many rich officials have been robbed. The worst was Imperial Physician Yu. He cried in bed for so many days. There were also a few high officials who were robbed and didn't dare to say anything because they had lost too many treasures. Only their servants are discussing it. As he was talking about it, 2 elders walked into Scholar's residence while wearing brightly colored clothes and pieces of gold and silver jewelry, looking very extravagant. One of them was a cripple while the other looked like a middle-aged householder. They both seemed rich and imposing.